Silence is not emptiness. It is a full presence, restrained and potent, waiting for the right moment to move. It is not the absence of words, but the wisdom to know when words are unnecessary. The Jewish saying, "Speech is silver, silence is golden," isn't just poetic, it's practical. In the noise of modern life, where everyone rushes to speak, to react, to assert, there is something rare and noble in one who chooses silence. You've been taught that to be heard is to matter, that speaking up is a sign of confidence, but no one told you that silence can be a roar only the wise recognize. Because silence isn't about surrender, it's about sovereignty. There are times in your life when silence will protect you more than the sharpest argument. When used well, it preserves dignity, diffuses conflict, and commands more attention than any shouted opinion. The urge to speak is strong, especially when you're angry, misunderstood, or hurt. But the truth is, not every emotion deserves a voice, and not every provocation warrants a reply. You learn this not from books, but from the burn of saying something you wish you could take back. Silence teaches through the aftermath. And if you listen closely, it will teach you how to rise above the noise, not by fighting it, but by not feeding it. So when should you choose silence? The answer is not always, but precisely. In moments where silence holds the higher ground, where stillness has more impact than explanation, where restraint speaks louder than justification. These are the moments when silence becomes a form of strength, an act of wisdom, a step towards self-mastery. Number 1. When you are angry. There is a split second between the trigger and your reaction. That's your chance to stay silent. Because in anger, your mind wants justice, but your tongue wants revenge. You say things that bleed, that damage what took years to build. Silence in that moment doesn't mean weakness, it means control. It means you've chosen peace over impulse, the future over this fleeting fire. Anger passes, but the wounds words leave behind don't always heal. Number 2. When someone is grieving or confiding, pain doesn't always ask for answers, it asks for presence. You don't need to fix anyone, you only need to hold space. In grief, words often fail. Advice falls flat. But your silence, that says, "I'm here with you." It's not passive, it's powerful. It's not about doing nothing, but about doing the one thing that matters most, listening without trying to control the moment. In silence, you give the other person their dignity and their process. Number 3. When you don't know the whole story. The mind loves to fill in blanks, to assume, to react. But what if you're wrong? What if what you're about to say will create a ripple you can't take back? In a world driven by instant opinions and public judgments, silence is a revolutionary act. It means you're wise enough to pause, humble enough to admit you don't know everything, and strong enough to wait until you do. Real integrity isn't in knowing, it's in waiting to understand. Number 4. When the other person isn't ready to listen. You've probably tried to talk to someone who's already decided not to hear you. They've closed the door before you even opened your mouth. Speaking then doesn't build bridges, it builds resistance. Silence becomes the only productive answer. You conserve your energy. You wait for openness, not push through their wall. Because timing matters more than truth, and silence respects both. Number 5. When you need to keep the peace. Being right doesn't always mean being wise. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is not win the argument. When a small conflict threatens a big relationship, silence is the sacrifice that protects the greater bond. It's not avoidance, it's choosing unity over ego. Not every hill is worth dying on. Sometimes, the highest ground is the one you quietly hold while others fight to stand taller. Number 6. When you need to reflect before deciding. Life is loud, but your direction should be born in quiet. Before you commit, before you act, before you leap, pause. Silence gives your intuition space to speak. It cuts through the pressure, the opinions, the noise. People who decide too fast often regret longer. But when you choose to retreat into silence, even briefly, you return with clarity. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Number 7. When you are insulted or provoked. It's tempting to clap back, to defend your name, to strike back with sharper words. But that gives away your power. Silence is not surrender, it's sovereignty. It's proof that your dignity isn't something others can touch. It says, I'm not here to play your game. And that restraint, that calm in the storm, speaks louder than any comeback. It shows you're the master of your emotions, not their servant. Silence, then, is more than the absence of sound. It is the presence of strength. In these 7 moments, silence is not something you fall into. It is something you rise into. It requires courage. It requires confidence. It requires the deep knowing that your worth does not depend on your volume. In a world addicted to noise, the one who chooses silence becomes unforgettable. Not because they were silent, but because they knew when to be. Use your silence not to disappear, but to define. Use it to listen deeply, to see clearly, to choose wisely. Let it be your shield, your mirror, your power. Because sometimes the loudest statement you can make is the one you never say out loud.